It's gonna be some dread.
First to the ring, hailing from St. Louis, Missouri, weighing in tonight at 195 pounds. He is the Iceman, Tony Jonnson.
Paul, I know we're just 2 matches in to this stacked card, but I'm going to tell you what, we may be seeing the showcase of the night because we have 2 of the most dynamic young athletes in Pittsburgh ready to go toe-to-toe here. Will the Iceman or the Apex of Combat put themselves in line for a shot at that grand championship?
That's right. These 2 men faced off on the very first Ryse card, and now here they are again some 2+ years later.
Not only the first Ryse card, the first Ryse official match.
Tony Jonnson here at Ryse. What was that? I don't understand you. Do you speak like some weird dialect of Pittsburgh? Anyway, I had a very interesting phone call from, you guys call him the Apex of Combat. He's just Lee Moriarty to me. So if you would, in the back, please play that message that Lee left for me on the main event hotline.
Thank you for calling the main event hotline. This is Iceman Tony Jonnson, a.k.a. a new Pittsburgh legend, a.k.a. #Gore, greatest of all Ryse. And with this voicemail, I just wanted to give you all the spoilers for Marvel's Avengers Endgame. Okay, so when Thanos realizes, this is Lee Moriarty. And how could you? How could you pretend like you were going to give the spoilers? Anyway, I was calling to let you know I'm upset. Okay, you beat up my teacher. You beat up my fellow classmates. And I'm coming in there to make an example out of you. All right? At least this is how it goes in my head. Because in reality, I'm just going to make a video about how upset I am and then share it with the world, and hopefully people like me.
That's the strategy. You make videos and hope people like them. He's a legend. Thank you. And Gore, greatest of all Ryse.
And his opponent, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, weighing in tonight at 82 kilograms, he is Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty.
The Black Dragon, the Apex of Combat, and quite simply, the best pure talent in Pittsburgh, Lee Moriarty has returned to the stronghold.
And like I've said before, Jim, Lee Moriarty is and always will be money, but I'm sure there's a lot of people in the Pittsburgh area that are going to take offense to Tony Jonnson claiming to be a Pittsburgh legend.
Well, Paul, it was just last month that Tony Jonnson used the ropes to defeat Brandon Kay. Certainly a tainted victory, but a victory that he's been very vocal about, to say the least. As we said in the opening, not only is this a rematch from the very first Ryse event, it's a rematch from the very first official contest ever held on a Ryse card. So certainly things coming full circle here, as both of these athletes have evolved and gotten better each and every time they step foot inside the squared circle.
Oh, there's no denying that Tony Jonnson is a world-class athlete, as is Lee Moriarty.
Tony using that height advantage to get some leverage on the shoulder tackle. Tony rolls through. Lucha pass. Lee hooks the legs. Shoulders down. Poetry in motion here, Paul.
Oh, without a doubt. Lee Moriarty has trained all over the country. He's trained internationally. We've touched on this many times before. It's not going to be long before you see this guy on some major stage somewhere.
Leg sweep. Jonnson returns the favor. And these two know each other very, very well.
That they do, that they do. And you know, for the little bit of time that Lee Moriarty has been in this business, he is a student of the game, constantly working to perfect his craft.
You know, we've talked about it previously. The Iceman has really found himself as a member of the main event. His confidence has grown leaps and bounds throughout his time here at Ryse.
Oh, without a doubt it has. Tony Jonnson was always a very fierce competitor, but since finding his path along with the main event, he's gotten not just that much more vicious as well as a competitor.
I may not agree with his tactics, but as far as results go, Jonnson has reached an entirely new level here in 2019. Look out here. Arm drag off the ropes. Beautifully done.
Beautifully executed.
What a transition into the missile drop kick. Right to the temple. Lateral press. Seamless transitions from the Tiger-style athlete.
There are very, very few deficiencies in Lee Moriarty's game, that's for sure.
And now Jonnson is quite literally on the ropes. Lee charges, runs into a boot. Jonnson telegraphed it. We saw it coming. And the Black Dragon stays one step ahead. Shoulders down.
A bit of a hog tie now of Tony Jonnson.
Yeah, paradise lock.
And Lee takes a seat.
And the apex of combat. A lot of mental warfare
Without a doubt.
here from Moriarty.
He also definitely has the sellout crowd at the Stronghold well behind him.
And a kick to the hamstring may end this night for Jonnson very quickly.
He embarrassed me. I'm not going back in there. Bring it in. Come on. I'm not going in. He embarrassed me. Bring it in. Come on.
Oh, look out. We didn't see Jonnson.
Oh, there he goes. He set him up on that one.
And we went face first into the edge of the apron.
Come on, gentlemen, let's go.
And just like that quick, the complexion of this matchup changing immediately.
That's where that killer instinct that Tony Johnson's got since joining the main event comes into play.
Stiff European uppercut. You can hear the contact.
Come on, Iceman, 6.
I got a match to win.
Jonnson following Lee in.
Yeah, Lee could have crushed his windpipe hitting that outside there.
Oh, man. You can hear the contact, but Jonnson just buried a knee into the midsection.
Right now, he's one step ahead of Lee Moriarty, and that's not an easy task.
We're seeing the human chess match play out here inside the squared circle. You can see Jonnson trying to drive all the air out of Lee Moriarty, trying to limit the wind for the Tiger-style athlete.
Moriarty, I believe, has had rib injuries in the past.
Keep off the ropes, Tony. Let's go.
And if you can't breathe, you can't fight.
That's true. And like I said, Lee has had several rib injuries in his short career, so Tony Johnson's taking advantage of that right now.
5 minutes gone by, 5 minutes.
And Paul, you can speak to this. I mean, you spent 25 years in the ring. Cardio is absolutely necessary to be successful during a contest.
Oh, it most definitely is. And not just your traditional cardio of running.
Wait a minute here. 2.5.
That was close. Yes, it was. Not your traditional style cardio of, running a treadmill. You can run a treadmill for an hour or 2 hours at a time. But unless you have ring conditioning, you are not going to make it far in this business. And if somebody takes that ring conditioning away from you, it makes it harder and harder to fight.
Flesh on flesh right there. And this one breaking down here. It's becoming a slugfest.
That it is. But with each crack to the chest, with each punch to the ribs, Lee is losing more and more the ability to draw a breath.
Lee dropping those 6 to 12 elbows. Trying to extricate himself, but again,
And if
landing.
you notice, there was not as much effectiveness to those elbows as there were earlier in the match, and that tends to speak to the fact that the breathing capability, being able to draw breath, the more Tony Jonnson pummels those lungs, the harder it is for Lee to catch him with a strike.
And Jonnson still so smug, still so arrogant, still so cocky. But you can't sleep on the Black Dragon.
Oh no, you don't want to get too overconfident. Lee is down a lot, but he's never out. This man will fight tooth and nail for every victory.
Cover here, hooks the leg. Paul, if you can, speak to how important it is to make sure you hook that leg. How much added leverage that brings a competitor.
Well, not only hooking the leg, but if you notice when Tony Jonnson hooks the leg, he also rolls the lower abdomen up into the chest area, again, compressing the lungs, making it harder and harder for Lee to breathe.
And look at this, a body lock with a bridge. I've never seen this before. What innovative offense by the Iceman.
Squeezing tighter and tighter around that diaphragm and rib area.
A body lock, so elementary but so effective. Lee trying to throw some shots here. Desperation time for Moriarty. Off the ropes. Tilt-a-whirl desperation maneuver.
I don't know if he caught him with all of it, though.
Lee just trying to get some separation here, a real sense of urgency from Moriarty. Not a position we're used to seeing him in. It's been a real long time since we've seen Moriarty in quite this much jeopardy as Jonnson going for the cover, and that may have been just coincidental.
I think so. I mean, I'd like to think that Lee knows where he's at every moment in that ring, but I don't know if he realized he was that close to the ropes there.
Very wise. Jonnson gets Moriarty away from the ropes, and if nothing else, forces Moriarty to exert the energy to kick out. And as I said, if you needed any more evidence to the skills of Tony Jonnson, he has one of the best athletes we've ever seen inside the Stronghold in real jeopardy here.
There's no doubt about the fact that Tony Jonnson is a fine athlete. Calling himself a local Pittsburgh legend, I don't know, but he's definitely a fine athlete.
It's not often we see Lee in this much trouble. Very few athletes can do this to Lee Moriarty, but Johnson's overconfidence finally catching up with him here, and he ate 2 boots right to the face.
As I said, you don't want to count Lee Moriarty out because he can come back at any given moment. Trying to overcome the pain, trying to overcome the lack of oxygen.
Look out!
Big dive to the outside.
Both of these young athletes crashing to the concrete.
And that's it. This is concrete here at the Stronghold. There's no padding out there. You might as well just fall in the street.
We are seeing 2 young athletes really just entering the prime of their careers, putting it on the line here. Moriarty going to press the advantage. But look at Jonnson, extra torque for extra impact on the
This
backbreaker.
This has to be it.
And somehow Moriarty gets the shoulder up.
I don't know where he came up with that. I thought for sure Lee Moriarty was done at that point.
I'm not trying to sell Lee Moriarty short, Paul. You know, I will tell you just how good Lee Moriarty is. But I got to be honest, he sustained punishment for the past several minutes. I'm very surprised after that twisting backbreaker he was able to kick out there.
Oh, you and me both. I've always sung Lee Moriarty's praises, but I don't know if he's going to get out of this one. I have never seen Lee in this much trouble at any given time in his career so far.
And look at Jonnson taunting the Black Dragon. And man, Jonnson again buries the knee into the breadbasket.
Abdominal stretch.
Yeah, that intercostal cartilage being extended, and this will again have pain surge through the body of Lee Moriarty.
And again, working on Lee Moriarty's wind.
Paul, with as close as this matchup is, you have to think the winner of this matchup could put themselves in contention for a shot at that Ryse Grand Championship.
They will definitely put themselves in contention, but how much is going to be taken out of them?
And now it is Moriarty twisting and contorting the body of the Iceman. Northern Lights with a bridge. And again, Moriarty forced to get the shoulder up, to extricate the energy, to expend the energy to continue this matchup. And what a matchup it is.
And Lee is showing, without a doubt, he's showing a new level of courageousness.
Matchups like this are really what define Ryse, Paul.
Yes,
two young
great
athletes giving it everything they got.
Without a doubt. Two, I will say it, two of the greatest so far here in Ryse Wrestling ever. We have a former grand champion in Lee Moriarty.
Man, Jonnson telegraphed it and got hit with a right hook right to the face. Momentum on the side of Moriarty.
Yeah, he's putting every ounce of his weight into all of those, each and every one of those strikes.
Wait a minute,
Watch out
Jonnson
here.
countered, shoulders down. Double stomp.
But
And
notice,
Moriarty digging down. This is all guts right here.
as I say, notice Lee has to stop. He has to draw that breath. He can't follow up right away. And that's giving Tony Jonnson a chance to get to his feet.
Jonnson hanging on for dear life. Jonnson puts on the brakes again. He's
looking
holding
for a
on.
switch.
Knee strike may have caught Moriarty in the temple that time. Handspring.
Moriarty caught him.
What a physical matchup. Tiger suplex. No. How close was that?
Wait a minute.
Wait, did somebody just that's
right, so
Christian
just-
Noir.
what is
He
he
ran
doing down
past
there?
us. Noir has been terrorizing this promotion for months.
Let's face it, a lot of the chaos here at Ryse has been happening on behalf of the Grindhouse. So what is what is Christian Noir doing here? Why is Grindhouse getting involved in this match at all?
Jonnson lands on his feet. Hooks Moriarty up. Release German.
No,
But Moriarty he's surging through.
absolutely no effect on Lee Moriarty. He's digging deep now.
Cover! And now Noir's up on the apron. We cannot allow the Grindhouse to
What is
ruin this
going on
matchup.
here? Why is he out here?
Security or someone needs to get out here.
He tried for that mist. But Moriarty saw it coming.
Lee's distracted and got knocked inside out. What impact!
And I think that's all Christian Noir wanted. was just to distract Lee Moriarty just long
The
enough.
result of a pinfall, the Iceman, Tony Jonnson.
I have to say this, and I'm sorry to have to say this, but I think I'm starting to agree with David Lawless. It is just pure chaos here at Ryse Wrestling.
The Iceman with an assist from Christian Noir. And Moriarty's going after Noir.
Do you blame him? He just ruined the match.
We're gonna need security out here right now. Lee Moriarty is trying to tear Noir apart. Look out.
Yeah, to keep these guys away from here. Our equipment got destroyed last month. We can't have this again.
The stronghold is absolute anarchy. Could the very foundation of Ryse be cracking before our